Welcome to Solutions with Courtney Anderson. I am your host and guide, Courtney Anderson. Today we are taking part in episode 160. 160. Wow. This show is part of our Help Situation Spotlight series shows. And of course, this is an entire series based on your questions and concerns as a community member. We're just trying to answer and come up with some potential ways to problem solve the things that you are asking for help with. I do always encourage you to come to CourtneyAnderson.com. It's where we have all of the shows and other resources provided. We specifically have a website page that's just dedicated to episode 160 at CourtneyAnderson.com. Well, you'll find the links, expanded notes, everything that I'm sharing with you, of course, the files to download and access. So please come by. I also want to encourage you to give your feedback on iTunes about the program, the show, and also put it on your social media. If there's anything that you think is interesting, potentially helpful, ideas for discussion with other people that you know, share it. So here we are, and we have a show specifically today that is entitled, I Want to Be Someone Else. Help! I want to be someone else. I want to be someone else. I want to be someone else? So the topic is one that often when we're looking through the programs and trying to come up with a show schedule and working through developing show content, I'll have like a personal resonance with the topic, the idea, and it'll really just be one of those things that hits very close to home, where I'll feel like, wow, I didn't maybe suggest this show topic, but it's something that I definitely myself struggle with or have struggled with or have wondered about. This specific show topic today is not one of those shows. This is one of the programs that I really have to work to put myself in the shoes, to have the empathy with the person who ascribes to this belief. And that is the idea that you want to be somebody else, right? Somebody saying, I want to be someone else. I've had times where I've certainly had so much on my plate, or I've had things happen that are just horrible, where I really just didn't, I was numb and I really didn't want to feel anything. But I haven't recalled times where I've said, I want to be specifically somebody else. I want to be, this person I know. I want to be somebody that I was friends with. I want to be somebody that I read about in the media, or that I watch play sports or watch their movies or listen to their music. I've not had that experience. And so again, it's something that I'm fascinated by this concept, but it's a little bit foreign to me. And my initial response is to the idea, I want to be somebody else. Well, my first response would be, well, why? And in fact, if you look at the show notes, I asked that question. Why would anyone want to be somebody else? I can understand wanting not to be experiencing what we're experiencing at a certain time in our lives. Maybe, really horrible things have happened, or we're under a lot of pressure or stress. I can understand that, right? Like, hey, I wish it was 6 months ago, or I wish it was 2 years from now in the future. I can understand that. But I don't understand not wanting to be you. It seems to me that that's sort of one of the most rewarding parts of everything in life, is being us. And the more time that you're alive, the more you get to know yourself, the more you get to understand yourself, the more you get to, challenge yourself and learn and grow. And so it seems odd to me that somebody would not want to be who they are, because that's kind of the best part of being alive. When I think through this a little bit more, I can see potentially why somebody would come to this conclusion. First, if I ask you who you would want to be, so the person who's saying help, I want to be someone else. Again, we want to make sure that's really the challenge. Is it that they want to be someone else, or they just wish that it wasn't the current time period and situation in their lives? Too many things are going on, or they're too stressed out, or something sad happened, or something bad happened. So we need to, sort of deal with that. Is it that you just wish the things that are happening right now aren't happening? Because that to me is a universal situation. We all experience that. Or is it really deeper than that, where it's not just you wish the things that are happening right now weren't happening, but that you literally wish you yourself were not, you weren't yourself? And that is a much more intriguing question. So I would ask, who do you want to be? And when I've worked with people in mentoring and coaching and one-on-one with this issue, they'll usually give me either someone that's in the public eye, so it'll be, someone that's well known for their talent or their job or prestigious or their purported lifestyle. I have to say that with the advent of the technology that we have now, certainly with the internet and then the growth of social media, it allows, I think, more of this sort of projection where we look out and we think, is everybody else doing something more or better or exciting or fun? And in fact, there's some interesting early research, obviously, because the whole phenomenon of social media is relatively new. I mean, depending on your age, it's shocking how new it is. So we didn't typically have a situation where we could globally create our own content, put it out there for the world, and have it be focused entirely on just us. So not our business, not our job, not any kind of marketing necessarily for some sort of business or experience, but just a web presence, an internet presence where it's just, this is my regular life. This is what I wore today. This is what I ate today. This is what I did today. This is my pet or my family or my friend. This is a very expansive access to content, obviously. And so and then adding on top of it, not just initially the internet, people who were older like myself understood that it was it was a conduit for information. So so of course organizations and businesses early on were there and trying to figure out how would we use this, right? Who do we access, and what is the power of it? Now, of course, it's gone from being organization and collective groups to literally the individual. Just the individual. This is what I'm doing. This is what I'm thinking. And there's, like I said, early research that shows that people who go on some of the more ubiquitous social media with some frequency will actually feel a little bit worse about themselves, because they'll look and they'll, let's say that I'm in my life and I'm thinking, my life. But then I go on social media and I see other people's lives and I think, wow, look at that. Look at that great fun they're having and the wonderful vacation they went on. Look at the fun party they had and look how great they look. And, and then it might, some of the research shows that it can and has in instances made me feel worse about myself, because I look and I think everybody else is doing all these really awesome things. What am I doing? And then it makes me either potentially, I guess, put more effort into showing more awesome things on my social media, or maybe it would encourage me. Maybe I'd be encouraged and think, oh, I need to work harder so I can plan for a better vacation, or I need to go to the gym and make sure I increase my focus on my fitness so that I look great, like some of these pictures I'm seeing. So potentially it could be something that's a motivator. But the whole idea is that the grass is greener, right? That somebody else somewhere literally has either greener grass, which happens, and or that they're, or it's a metaphor that their life in some kind of way, it's better than mine. They're happier. And then you go and you can drill down within that. They're prettier, they're smarter, they're funnier, they're more loved, they're more desired, they're more appreciated, they're more acknowledged, and they just have something better than we do. I don't see, and I haven't personally experienced or found a lot of information, or really any, to support that people want to be someone else because they think someone else's life is less than or worse than theirs. It is invariably that someone wants to be someone else because they think other people's lives are better. They have more than. It's better. It's improved, right? I've not, again, encountered anyone who says, oh, I know so-and-so, and it's, they're in a very bad situation, and I really wish I was them. It's usually not that. It's this idea that there's more better, faster, exciting experiences, lifestyle, whatever that other people have, and that we're missing out. And then people, I think, sort of extrapolate that out to, so if I was someone else, I'd have that. Certainly when we're young, and I did this. This is before the internet. So when I'm really young, like preteens and early adolescence, I think from certainly the graduate classes I've taken on this, and the research is that we go through this period of trying to figure out who we are. So it's pretty common that people will use sort of external images to try to determine, who am I? What does it mean? Right. And so I would do this again, pre-internet. There were magazines, that would cater toward teens and preteens, and it would have, the popular actors and musicians and models and everything that culture and that age group was aware of. And then people in that age group could look in the magazine, and what I went so far as to take pictures in the magazine of the people I either thought were just, living a fantasy life, or people that I imagined would be what my fantasy future boyfriend would be like, or my fantasy future life. And I would take their pictures and I would tape them with tape on the walls in my room. And I think that when people do things like that, the idea, and sure, now obviously if I was a young person today, I guess I'd go on the internet and I'd have engagement with their sites and social media, and I talked to other people who were big fans, and it would be a little bit more, it would be a lot more involved than just literally a piece of paper I ripped out of a magazine that I taped on a wall in my room by myself. Which is, again, part of that's really awesome, right? We get all this access to everyone that's able to log in, and we get all this wealth of information. And again, when you go through that sort of developmental stage we all go through as humans, you're trying to decide, what does it mean? What does it mean to be male or female? What am I going to be as an adult or as I develop? What does it mean? Who am I? All this kind of stuff. And so that's totally normal and healthy. The thing that's strange, I think, somewhat, is when you have someone who's well above the age of development to an adult, and they're still doing this. And they're 45 years old, and basically they're doing the same version. They're not cutting pictures out and putting on their wall necessarily, because technologies change, but they're doing a version of that. And it's the same idea. Who would be my fantasy spouse? What would be my fantasy job? What would I wear if I had, what kind of clothes would I wear if I had unlimited funds? What kind of car would I drive? The challenge with a topic like this is it's imperative that we walk the line between understanding that everyone, and I do mean everyone, has doubt, fear, insecurity, really bad days, super horrible things, great days. That's normal. The challenge, though, is whether or not you take those things, which are universal, and you turn it into a repudiation of literally who you are as a person. Again, it's one thing to say, hey, I wish this wasn't happening in my life right now. Universal. It's another thing to say, I wish I wasn't in my life at all, and I was in somebody else's life. For a couple of reasons. First of all, the biggest challenge is you don't know what other people's lives are like. And when we go through all of this as a teenager or a young person, and adolescent, pre-adolescent, I'm thinking back. I remember that one of the people that I wanted to sort of my imaginary version of what I'd be as an adult. So this is literally me as a really young child. And so I admired, and I just thought was just so beautiful, and I really wanted to be potentially the person. This is my vision of that time of what they represented. It was the singer Janet Jackson. And I remember I had some of her pictures on my wall, and I just thought, she's everything. And she had been on a television show that was before the time that I was a young person, but it was in reruns. Good Time. She'd been on there and played like as a little girl. And then she'd become like a teenager and put out a few. This is before she became like a really international superstar with her Control album. She put out some other stuff that I followed and thought, wow, look at that. She's so awesome. Now, and of course her family, her siblings were, beyond world famous and had already accomplished all these things. And so I just remember that's one of the people, right? The thing is, I don't know her. I still don't know her today. I didn't know her then, but I was a little girl and I just thought, her makeup and her dress, and I'd seen her on some of these TV shows, and she just seemed sort of my idealized version of what I hoped I could be when I got older. Now I understood even then that I'm not going to look like her because I'm me. But that's just an example. Again, when we do that growing up, when everyone does it to some extent, what does it mean, right, to be who we are? And we look to role models. You look to people in your own family, you look to people in your community, in your neighborhood, you look to people in your social groups, you look to people in the images that are in popular culture, which is why they're so powerful. And again, this is normal. The challenge, though, is admiring someone or saying, "Wow, I love how that person dresses," or "I love that person's style," or "I love that person's talent," or "I love listening to that person sing," or "I love watching that person act," or "I love watching that person play sports." That normal, wonderful, healthy thing. And then saying that I want to be that person is that's sort of another leap. Today, I don't have pictures of people on my walls like I did as a child, but there are people who I still admire that I'll look at and think, oh, I love that person. That's a fashion icon, or that's someone that I just love their style. Um, and that's normal. I don't want to be them. I just admire the way that they dress, or I admire the way that they present themselves when I see them somewhere, and I again, that universal to a certain degree. The extra step where I then say I want to erase me, I want to literally take an eraser and erase my existence and then just go be that person. That is a completely different analysis. So I asked why would anyone want to be someone else, and then I asked who do you want to be, and I gave this sort of example. For me, I thought being Janet Jackson would be great. Not necessarily. Actually, let me be clear. I actually didn't want to be Janet Jackson. I just thought she looked like she had like a really great, cool adult situation going on, and I thought when I'm an adult, I want to be like that. And the reason I think it's important to make the distinction is, in so many of the programs, we talk about this whole idea of us being at battle with ourselves, being at war with ourselves, and really people attack themselves, right, in their own thoughts. They think, oh, you're ugly, you're stupid, you're dumb, you shouldn't do that, you always mess up, you're a failure, other people hate you, you disappoint other people. People say this to themselves, and we talk about in so many programs of destruction that usually results in for themselves and for other people, relationships, everything, right? And I strongly advise that we work it out in our thoughts and find a place where we make a decision about who we are, and that we're not battling ourselves, we're not at war anymore. That we accept, embrace, and feel totally unified that we are this person. Admiring what other people do in their work, or how they present themselves, or what they wear, or where they live, or whatever, is, I think, again, just part of our normal environment. Deciding you don't want to be at all and erase yourself, and you want to then go be some other person is well, one, is it possible? Let's do that. So let's say that I was still fixated and thought, wow, I want to be Janet Jackson. Am I going to be able to be Janet Jackson? Okay, so we had a moment to think about that. The answer is no. The biggest problem, of course, is Janet Jackson's already Janet Jackson. I mean, that's sort of the biggest problem, right? That there's already a person that's already there. So where am I going to go? Because the two entities aren't going to be able to occupy the same space at the same time. Janet Jackson already is Janet Jackson. I can't go inside and be Janet Jackson when there's already a Janet Jackson inside. There's already her. So I'm not going to get into the fact that there might be research, and I certainly have read, science fiction and all kind of interesting ideas that maybe in the future people could do this, or maybe somewhere in the future there'd be a way to like clone the body of another person, and then I could like transfer my mind and that mind and that body. That could all happen in the future. I have not a clue. To the best of my knowledge, none of that's happened right now. So I cannot actually accomplish the goal of being another person, because they're already that person. It already exists. That's how come I know who it is. When I asked two questions already. I said, why do you want to be that person? Who do you want to be? No matter who it is you tell me. If you say, I want to be my grandmother's the most wonderful person ever. I admire her so much. If you say to me, I want to be my niece. My niece is the sweetest kid. I just love my niece. I want to be a famous singer. I want to be a famous politician. I want to be a famous researcher or anthropologist. I don't care who it is. The challenge is that that entity already either exists now or it existed. Now, sometimes people say they want to be someone who's already deceased, which is even more challenging, I would assume, um, because in some ways the person doesn't even exist at all. Now, again, maybe in the future people will start to figure this out, and you can do some sort of transplant in your mind, where your mind is transplanted to someone else's body. I still, though, think the problem would be that your mind would still be transplanted. So even if you were like, oh, I really want to be some supermodel, and then in the future they were able to clone the supermodel's body, but then they put your mind in there, then it's still gonna be your mind. Now it's all messed up because you wanted to be them, and now it's still your mind, and now their mind, I guess, is somewhere else. So you're back at square one because it's still you. Now you might say, well, I just wanted to be me, my mind in the supermodel body. Okay. Well, but won't all of the challenges that you're already facing come with you? Right? Everywhere you go, there you are. And it's sort of like people, sometimes you'll talk to people and they'll just physically move all the time. They were living in Dublin, Ireland, and now they're living in Cape Town, South Africa, and then they moved to, you know, Des Moines, Iowa, and now they're living in Miami, Florida. And next thing I know, I hear they're in Rio de Janeiro. I mean, they're just moving, moving, moving all the time. And sometimes it's because it's their work or it's their passion or it's fun or whatever. But sometimes it's an unhealthy thing because they keep thinking if I just change and I go somewhere else, I could be somewhere else. But the challenge is everywhere that they go, even though they keep picking up all their mind and their body and whatever stuff they may want to take, and they keep doing this, they keep having the same outcome because it's still them. All they did was change the location. And once they get through the initial rush and excitement of, wow, I'm in a new place and I'm going to reinvent myself and be me, unless they've made the changes that they quote want to do to reinvent themselves, they're still going to, at the end of a certain amount of time, end up basically the same as they were before because it's still them. Right? All they did was change location. And usually there's an adrenaline and an excitement period. Wow, the honeymoon phase. I'm in a new place. It's so exciting. It's so exciting. And then after a little bit, you acclimate to it. And then you start to go through the same stuff that you always went through. Whatever it was that was your problem before or your perceived problem, it's still your problem because you're still you. All you do is just move you to a different physical location. I'm arguing in a very sort of fantastical, abstract way. Even if they had the science for you to move yourself to a different body, you're still going to be you. It's just the same thing. You're just changing location. Sometimes people who are really in a lot of pain over this, because some people this is really the core issue of how they relate to the world, right? They just really don't want to be. They wanted to be someone else. Of course, it's impossible to do that, as we know at this time, and that puts them in this really negative position because they feel like, what can they do, right? They're stuck being themselves, and then in whatever it is that they feel they're lacking as themselves, they feel like they're doomed because they'd want to be this other person. And usually they have an idea. I mean, sometimes people will just say, I'll just want to be anybody. I don't even care. Sometimes. But most people have a very specific idea. Often they'll have a visual, right? What kind of body they want, what size or color or height. And like I said, the proliferation of sort of this massive amount of information where other people are putting these images out, which may be totally accurate. People may be showing you exactly how their life is, and their life may be your version of what you would think would be a fantasy. They may live in your fantasy place. They may wear your fantasy wardrobe. They may have the fantasy spouse or partner that you would want. They may look like that. Everything they do is just your magical dream come true. And it may be, I don't know, because I don't know them, right? Neither do you. More often than not, the research shows us that those are all, to a certain degree, manufactured marketing pieces. So we know when a business puts out an advertisement for a new movie, that the advertisement, the trailer for the movie, is an advertisement. And they usually will try to make it the best possible. Sometimes you'll see the trailer for a movie and say, wow, that looks awesome. And then you'll go see the movie and you'll think the trailer had the only good parts, quote unquote. The best parts of the movie were already in the trailer. The rest of the movie wasn't anywhere near as good. Yeah, it was intentional. They wanted you to come buy that product. They wanted you to come buy a ticket so they get money. So they're going to go do everything they can to make it look enticing and awesome. It's the same thing with any marketing you'll see. Sometimes I'll see marketing for a restaurant, and the way that they make that food look on the marketing, video or commercial, it looks like, wow, that's the most delicious thing ever. And then sometimes you'll go in real life and you'll think, this doesn't look at all like television commercial. Well, of course not. There was an intentional decision made to entice you to buy that product or service, and a lot of time, a lot of money went into that. And at some level, people are doing that individually on their social media. They're editing. They may be showing you some of the good parts, but they're not necessarily showing you everything. If being famous or being rich or being admired or having a certain body size or body type or color or whatever was the magic key to a life of bliss, then you would never ever ever see someone who is publicly well known and or who is wealthy and or who is famous and or whatever who has self-harm and engages in really self-destructive behavior. You wouldn't see it because they'd be blissfully going around all the time. Look at me, I'm beautiful, I'm famous, I'm rich, look at me, look how great my life is. That's sometimes is how people are. In other situations we've seen, and we could sit here for hours and just talk about examples that are heartbreaking of people that we admired in the public eye, and it's just, and people are quote shocked when you find out that what it seemed their life looked like, it really wasn't. So the idea that you want to be someone else is not even logical because you don't even know who they are. Often they're struggling with the same challenges you and I are to define ourselves. So for me to, for you to rationally say I want to be someone else, it's not, you don't even know who they are, and often when you talk to them, they don't even really know. Totally, they're still on that journey. I'm still on the journey. Who am I? Who knows? I'm trying to come up with better solutions. I'm trying to stay at peace where I'm not ever fighting or warring against myself. I'm trying to think through and make decisions. I'm trying to focus on surpassing my goals. It's a process. And again, many times we edit what we share with other people, whether it's a business or it's a personal situation. Sometimes it's painful. You don't want everybody to know what's happening. So you don't know them. Sometimes they don't know them. So if you just say you want to be them, it's not even logical. We talked about that it's impossible as we know it now for you to go get inside the body of another person that's already existing because they're already in there themselves. And we also talked about, to the best of our understanding, it's impossible to put your mind or your thoughts or brain in there because they already have their own brain. If they're deceased, again, we don't have, to the best of our knowledge, where you can sort of make them come back to life, reanimate them, and then put your brain in there. We don't know how to do that. If they don't yet exist, we don't know how to do that. And some people get fixated on wanting to be someone else, and it wasn't even alive as we understand it. It was like a fictional character or something, which sometimes these discussions are hard because I'll have people say, well, Courtney, it's not like you just go out there and you don't want to, improve yourself. And they're totally right. Again, admiring someone else, looking at someone else and saying, wow, I admire their fitness, I admire their career, I admire some of the choices they made, I admire their, wallpaper or whatever. Totally healthy and normal. We all do this. Often you can learn from other people in a positive way and say, wow, that person really motivated me. I'm going to fix up my room like that, or I'm going to look and see if I can get some really nice outfits that make me look nice like that, or whatever. That's not anything repudiating ourselves. I go so far as to use chemicals to dye my hair color. I lighten it, and then I also now am covering the gray. I'm getting age related and at some level I'm sure it was stress related gray hair. So yeah, that's chemical. That's not me naturally. Right? And my argument sometimes I say to myself is, well, that's the only chemical I put on there is color. Because that's true. I don't put any other chemicals to change my hair. I just put the color. But then sometimes I'll use machines. Right? I'll use a blow dryer, to sort of blow dry my hair. I'll put on makeup often for work. I put on makeup. So people say, well, who are you to tell us? Here's the deal. I don't want to be anyone else. I want to be me. Now, of course, we want to be, quote, in many cultures, the best we can be. So maybe that means being the best volunteer, the best parent, the best sibling, the best manager, the best entrepreneur, whatever. It's totally, in many instances, recommended that we pay attention. What are we eating? How do we treat ourselves? How are we dealing with stress? How are we sleeping? If someone also wants to add to that sort of external enhancements, I openly am admitting, as I'm sure there was never any doubt, right? I put chemical to color my hair. Sometimes I use a machine to blow dry my hair and make it styled differently. I put makeup on when I'm going to do a lot of my formal work. Okay. Sometimes I'll even look and say, well, I look at someone else's hairstyle or someone else's makeup and say, oh, I love that. I'm going to try that on, I'm going to look and see what makeup they're using. I'm going to try that on myself. I do that. Again, not saying I want to be them. Just taking ideas and saying, wow, I like that idea. Sometimes I try it on myself and I think, oh, that's awesome. Sometimes I try it on myself and I think, ooh, that didn't work for me. Why we think we want to be someone else is often because we don't want to be ourselves. The challenge I'm arguing, and I've argued in many other programs, is you are you. So I get it that we all have times. Everyone has that where you think, wow, today was yucky. That doesn't mean I don't want to exist. I do exist. And you do too because you're listening to this. So thus, that's asked and answered. What do we do with it? Again, if you look and you want to say, oh, I'm interested in fashion, I'm interested in fitness, I'm interested in music, I'm interested in whatever, I'm interested in how other people decorate their room, fine. You might really get awesome ideas. But you're not them, they're them. You have to be you because you are you. That's, again, done. One of the things I put in the show notes, I put a note and I said, data is your friend. We often think other people's lives are better, right? More awesome, whatever. And when I said that I haven't encountered where people say they want to be someone else and then the person that they claim they want to be is in a quote worse situation, right? It's somebody that we think is more. Again, so much of what we see or we think about other people is what they want us to think, and it's marketing to some extent. It's not the whole picture. Think about one time in your life when you were shocked. Maybe it was something that you believed in, and it turned out that they were committing criminal acts, or they were self-sabotaging, or they self-harmed, and you think, wow, I'm so disappointed in that. Yeah, it is disappointing. Because they went through all the trouble of making you think they were something they weren't. And then they went through the other trouble of covering up and trying to hide all this other stuff that they were doing that was destructive and or illegal. So you didn't want to be them at all because, again, they didn't know who they were, and or they knew who they were and they were making these awful, awful decisions. And when you found out the totality of what they were doing, you say, well, I don't want to be them now. Well, yeah, because they're in jail now. Or they've had some horrible destructive event happen. So now you say, I don't want to be them. Well, that's because you didn't know them at all. So this whole thing about I want to be them is based on a fictional, imaginary projection of what you thought they were. So why not go focus on something that's a little bit more defined, at least as we understand it in our sensory experience of the world? I said data is your friend because often when people say to me, oh, my life is so bad, I'll ask them, well, how are you measuring that? If it's just you looking at things in media or in social media, you're not getting a good data because people are putting out there. It's like telling me you watch television commercials to make decisions. Well, what? They're ads. Everything they're going to put out there is going to be the best ever because that's their job. They're trying to get you to give them money. It's like they're not going to put a television commercial and say, oh, here are some of the things in our business that are really struggling. Here are some of the things in our business that we've done that have failed. Here's some of the problems our business is having. Nobody's going to do that. That doesn't make any sense at all. It's the same thing for you, as an adult. So again, we're young people. We're still, looking to see what we're going to do in terms of our role models for what being an adult's like. But you're an adult now. So you need to make decisions based on the reality of you being an adult. I understand that we all look at and should. Am I eating well? Am I doing the best I can to take care of my body? Am I doing the best I can to take care of my fitness and my health? Am I doing the best I can? Then there's most of what we're making decisions on that are not health related, or just they're all subjective and they're all cultural and they're based on where you currently live, where you used to live, what your family of origin thinks. They're based on your, national origin. They're based on your religion, your politics, they're based on all this other stuff. So people have totally different definitions of what beautiful means. They have totally different definitions of what success means. They have totally different definitions of what, intelligent means based on their experiences. I could show you a media image of someone that I might think is totally beautiful, and you might say that person's ugly. And both of us are right because it's subjective. So once we get past the things about our health, functioning of our of our heart, watching sure what we're doing in terms of what we're ingesting and how we're getting taking care of sort of the machinery of our body. Beyond that, it's all subjective. Some people say, I'd like to be a lighter skin color. Some people say I want to be a darker skin color. Some people say I want to have different shaped eyes or nose or lips or face. Some people say they want different shaped body parts to the other parts of their body. They want a different posterior. They want different bust. They want a different biceps. They want different triceps. There's all kind of stuff. And again, science changes and grows. So people in the last couple of decades are able to do a lot of things. There literally are people that can go and you can say, well, this is what I'm naturally my body frame, but I want different, I want bigger arms. Okay. And okay, we'll put implants in there. I want bigger um, chest. Okay. We'll put implants. I want a different chin. Okay. We'll put an implant. I want you to, you know, do surgery to change the way the shape of my eyes looks, and change the way my nose looks, and change the way my forehead, and change the way my ears are, and change, so all of this, where's the line, right, between self-improvement, just sort of normal, like, oh, I want to make sure I'm healthy, and I have some sort of subjective, usually cultural based determinations of what I think would help, and then this thing where you start really to try to eradicate who you are. The questions I would ask if I were you: are you content with yourself without your enhancements? So, like I said, I wear makeup when I'm shooting something professionally, or providing a video show, or doing a television show, or a speaking event, or something like that. Yeah, I do. And I usually put on makeup. A lot of the techniques I've learned are from theatrical makeup. So it's set up to be read well on a television, or on a screen, or in a theater. Am I comfortable without those enhancements just in my regular life when I'm not doing that work? Am I out and about without makeup and feel fine? Or am I someone, and some people get like this to a point where they will tell people, I will not leave my home. Some people won't leave their room. Some people actually are with their family, right? Their spouse or whatever, and they won't even let that person see them without their makeup or their wig or their enhancements. And they do all kind of stuff, right? They'll say, well, I get up at 3 o'clock in the morning to make sure I look the way I want them to see me, and I never want them to ever see me without all these enhancements. Men and women. To me, that starts to take you down the path of it becoming a little bit self-destructive. Remember, the core issue is you are you. My argument is, since you are this thing, you might as well accept that you are. And yes, as who you are, can you make sure that you're doing your best in terms of your health, and making good choices? Don't smoke cigarettes. I mean, there's a lot of things you can do, right, to try to improve your health. Beyond that, there are all these different cultural things that people get caught up in. And when you go different parts of the world, that's one of the things I advise in so many of the other programs, that you expand your mind, right? You can physically go, or you can just go online and read and look and see videos, and you can learn a whole bunch by not even moving. Just go online and look and see what people in other parts of the world, how they define what they think is the epitome of beauty or success or whatever it is people are looking for. And they're totally different depending on where you are in the world and what people's experience is. My point at some point is to, if you really do begin to get to a point where, okay, I get it, I am me, so that's already done. I don't seem to have a way to come up with putting my body or mind into some other person that already exists or used to exist, or maybe doesn't, never has existed, but is a cartoon or fantasy or something. So this is my situation. I am this. So why don't I sort of make this the best I can, right? If you do that from a healthy place, it really can be fun. I admitted some of the things I do. One of the things I do also is, and if we've met in person, I love to smell nice. I love to spend a lot of my time on, you know, making sure the things I use when I'm bathing and showering smell nice, and stuff I put in my hair smells nice, and I put perfume on, it smells nice. That I think. Now again, other people, some of it would say, well, ooh, I don't like that smell at all. Of course not. That's why they have thousands and thousands of opportunities for different types of products. The same way that I said about makeup and hair and all this kind of stuff, and clothes, and all this stuff. It's just it depends so much on where you are in the world and how you see things and how things are defined culturally where you are. Where it becomes destructive is when people start to harm themselves financially. You hear about people who take they go into debt because they're trying to go and change their face with surgery and change all of their body, and also sometimes they harm their health. People sometimes can suffer health outcomes that are negative in this quest to sort of this fantasy imaginary thing you're going to be. And again, you have to remember that no matter where you go, there you are. So even if you go and you change your whole everything, you have another hair that's not yours and it's on your head, and you've gone to the surgeon and you've changed your face and you've changed your color and you've done everything you can to try to change some of your size, and you're changing. Okay, well, you did all that. The challenge though is it's still you inside of it. You're still in there. So most of us are very aware and make cognizant choices, understanding we come to an acceptance. I am me, so I can't be anyone else. So that sort of, you know, um, attenuates and ends the discussion about being someone else, because I can't. I am this. Then we say, okay, well, let's get our hygiene together and let's get our health and focus on these things and pay attention. And then people have enhancements. And again, it's cultural. So depending on where you are in the world, it's whatever, usually based on what you see, observe, and your cultural beliefs is whatever you do to enhance whatever. I'm going to comb my hair this way. I'm going to use this cologne or perfume. I'm going to, dress this way. Fine. When you go and you start to a point where you really honestly are uncomfortable without your enhancements, and you, in fact, you don't even let anyone see you without your enhancements, these are starting to be warning signs that this is interfering, because they're not enhancements, because in fact you're just using them to hide behind, because you don't want anyone to see you. That's potentially a red flag that you don't like you and you don't want to be you, and that's unhealthy. Again, if you're spending all of your money and you're in debt, if you've had bad health medical outcomes because you went into cosmetic surgery very aggressively, you are still you. I would argue that's, again, I started the beginning of the program, it's the best thing about life is the being us. There's so many people on the planet, and there's so much about us that, isn't anything particularly special. But except for those of us who have identical siblings with identical DNA, and even then there are differences in between identical twins and identical triplets. But, we are in many ways unique. Most of us are uniquely our own DNA, which is awesome. And we're also, all of us are our own unique personalities and ways that we behave. And in a way, you would think, how is that even possible? There were 7 billion people on the planet, and we can have either the combination of the original, personality and behavior traits and the original genes, which is the majority of us. And then some of us may have genes that are shared with another identical sibling, but we still have our unique personality and traits. How's that? It's kind of awesome. And that's what I said. It's beautiful, right? So even though we're not all going to be world famous, we're not all going to be celebrated for being the most intelligent or athletic or fastest or prettiest or whatever, but there's still this something about us that's been, credibly proven to exist that makes us uniquely us. I say roll with that, meaning be happy with it, and fix yourself to the point where you are doing everything you can healthy to enjoy your quality of life, take care of your health. And if you have some enhancements that aren't causing negative destruction, and they're not causing you to hide from yourself, that you just use in a healthy way, and you're comfortable with your enhancement and you're comfortable without your enhancement, then that's something I think reasonably. I admitted, and I wasn't much to admit, but whatever. I do that, and most people have some kind of enhancement. I strongly recommend that we all definitely focus on our hygiene and things of that nature. What's the point? The point is that when I said data is your friend, and you're giving me, and it's happened in individual coaching and mentoring, or people telling me how horrible their life is, and I'm trying to say to them, look at all the wonderful things in your life you should be appreciative of. People take things for granted. And so why don't you go look and see, what's the average standard of living in the world? If you complain that you don't have enough because you're telling me what you see in media representations of what the richest people in the world have, why don't you look and tell me how much the average person on the planet has in terms of resources, and then let's look and see what you have. Most people who get into that mindset, oh, I don't want to be me, it's horrible being me, we're not being realistic, because you can't be anything else. And secondly, do you know how good you have it? Do you have clean water? You have access to shelter, food? You should be grateful to be you. But again, like I said, we don't do it. We don't think, oh, look at people. We're aware. You should be aware. Even if you need any news, oh, people in war and people in a, fleeing where they live in refugee camps and people in horrific natural disasters and people with horrific, crimes that happen. And yet you are lamenting you. That's because, of course, you're just totally focused on this sort of imaginary projection of what you think someone somewhere has that in your mind is the best of everything, when you don't stop to think about the fact that you have what many, 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 many people in the world right now would say is the best. But you don't think about that. And you're not grateful. And you're not appreciative of being you. So data is your friend. So I put some links in the show notes. One, the census, the United States Census, federal government agency. I'm not going to get into a debate. We don't have the time about whether or not you would trust government data, but assuming that there may be some credible sources there, it'll help you understand sort of what are other people's lives really like? Not what they want you to think, but what are they really like in terms of economics, in terms of education. It'll tell you. The Pew Research Center is another resource. I put the link in the show notes, which is, again, page 160, episode 160 on kind&rdquo. Pew Research has a lot of data from all different types of sectors and many geographic regions. I also put another link in there for the UN. The United Nations has data. And if you can go out and find any other source that you would think would be credible, that you'd believe, to kind of get a handle on it. Is everybody else living a fantasy life but you? No, of course not. But people get caught up in these sort of narratives in their head, and they're just not based on data. You need to look around and take stock of what you have as opportunities right now and be appreciative of it. And as we come to resolution on this, again, you should be able to look in your mirror with none of your enhancements and feel good about yourself. And think, yeah, I like that. That's the core. Because then, if you go out and people have something to say without your enhancements, okay, I feel good about me anyway. If you add your enhancements, ideally, that's what they're just going to make you feel even better. But you are comfortable with you. You understand that you are you. You're not going to be able to be anyone else because they are already themselves or they don't exist. In either instance, then you can't be them because you're you. And we already talked about how actually it seems almost miraculous, right? That there's something legitimately, verifiably, uniquely you. Your genes and or your behaviors and the way that they come together to represent you. That's awesome. Accept that. And then get out there in life and make good choices. If you have some enhancements that aren't causing you negative outcomes in terms of health and or finances, then okay. Our show sponsor is, we talked about smelling nice. I'm sure that's one of the things I do in my enhancements. So our show sponsor is Fragrance Net. Fragrance Net has literally thousands, it looks like, of I went through and found all my favorite perfumes, and in some shows I'll highlight those, but you can, and they've got discounted colognes and fragrances, and that's just one of the things I do. And so if that's one of the things you do, I ask you to support our show sponsor from visiting their page through our website, so they know you came from our show. But please don't ever tell yourself that you want to be someone else. It hurts. And please don't tell other people that, because it's so painful and it's so cruel. And it's just for people who care about you, and we've talked about this in so many other programs, if someone loves you or cares and cares about you, your happiness is their happiness. So when you tell them that you don't even want to be, you want to erase who you are, it just hurts them so much. They were invested in you. And so let's just I'm imploring you, let's put an end to this. It's really self-destructive. I want to be someone else. No, you don't. You are you. And that is really awe-inspiring. And let's move forward then in how we can then surpass our goals and do things in a way to fully explore everything we can in this life as ourselves. That's that's what we're going to do. So thank you so much for being here today. As always, I cannot express to you how much I appreciate your time and being part of the program and helping it grow and be such a success. So thank you.